I saw that you were putting this together, I was like, oh, perfect. I can finally learn from one of those guys and see exactly what they're doing, and what makes the difference. So that's how I found about.
Yeah, sick. So ultimately, why did you join TPV?
I mean, I just wanted to learn from people who I felt like were world class, who were industry leaders. Learning from you, I obviously picked that up seeing your content too. I'm like, oh yeah, this guy knows what's up. Like he knows what he's doing. So yeah, that's kind of what convinced me. The simplest, most cop-out answer, but it's actually real, is your efficiency mantra. I mean, Cam talked about it in the sales call when we first got going, but man, I struggle so bad with that perfectionist mindset. You're sitting there editing for 4, 5, 6 hours and you're like, nah, this is not getting any better. I need to just push this out. So I really appreciated that. That was probably the biggest like switch for me. Like, okay, I could do this. There's a process behind it. And when you were saying that you could film and edit in 4 hours, I was like, nah, there's no way. But after going through the program, I see how you've systematized everything. So that's been the biggest benefit for me, for sure. And in one of your attack sessions, you also went over, it's actually kind of cool how you did it, but you lined up your Miro board like a timeline sequence, and you were doing the 1, 2, 4 or 1, 2, 3, 4 chord progression, and you were putting them together like Lego blocks. And I've never thought of it that way, even though I've always listened for the 4 chord progression and I've always edited that way. I've never thought like, oh, wide straight push, mid perspective reveal in like a pattern, because it's so repeatable. So that was mind blowing for me. Like, oh man, yeah, I actually could just like copy paste this over and over and over almost. So I've really been liking them. The most recent one is the one that's so fresh on my mind because I just barely went through it yesterday. I'm trying to think of outside of that. So obviously when you were going through the agent flywheel and making sure that we understand what the agents are seeing from their perspective, like what they're doing and how they're generating these leads and seller leads. It was insightful to me to see what other opportunities are there, because it's not just about creating content to sell a home, because that's a one-time transaction, right? And we actually have a bigger opportunity to build brand awareness for agents. And I forget the name of the guy that you mentioned, but one of the big ones here in the US is Ryan Serhant. He's got his own brokerage, but we have an opportunity for people to work their way to that level. And then listings just becomes another check, another boxy tick. It's like, it's not the end all be all. It's part of that process. So I think switching my mindset to that has been the thing that stood out to me the most from these attack sessions.